So I just wanted to show you around a little bit here. I've got a few things I wanted to change and a few things I want to make do. You can actually probably see here we have revamped the Chronicles of Enoch website as well. I'll get onto Empyraeum cycle in a minute. But because this is the Chronicles of Enoch YouTube channel, and it's still me, the same person who does everything on here by himself, I may hasten to add, I wanted to focus on this. And you can actually see I've gone for a whole theme here. The whole theme in the Chronicles of Enoch first series of the book, which I shall edit, I promise, is the darkness within. Now, I've tried to create that and also give the whole idea of catastrophic, apocalyptic events that are coming up. So, obviously, you can see, first of all, we've got the whole lightning in the background thing, which I kind of like. I've actually got a storm effect, sound effect, but I've been told that would be NSW or NSFW, or not suitable for work, and it would probably, let's just say, people of a more easily upset disposition may in fact be a bit, when suddenly there's a loud thunder noise on their screen, may suddenly have a problem with that. So I've decided not to do that at this moment in time. So what we're going to do is just do a quick run through this. Obviously you've got the whole buttons here, which I based on art and design of the time, as well as some Jewish scroll cases, like a decorative Jewish scroll case. As you can see, it's got the mother of pearl at the middle, the antique gold, and obviously the titles now here. Obviously, I've only worked on two parts of this so far. We've actually got legends here, which, let's see how quick this loads. There we go. So I've gone for a similar effect of the shadow embossed text. I've gone for a scrolly look just to complete the look, and obviously we've got the frames around here. Now what I've decided to do is, I haven't done all the text inside of the scrolly look type thing, simply because it would be an awful lot of work, and it's overload, isn't it? So what I'm trying to do here is go for something a little bit less busy. So as you can see, I've got classical pieces of text here, classical images from Paradise Lost and so forth, showing, obviously Lucifer's expulsion here, because obviously that's important here. We've obviously got the fall of the angels, Lucifer and his people being cast down by Michael and his friend. And then finally we've got the stairway to heaven, which they're trying to re-find. And obviously then we've got some adverts at the bottom, because Alan got to make some money. Now obviously, nice thing I've got here is this little button here. You can't see my hand pointing, which will take us back to the beginning. We also did a design for characters. I've done a kind of Lost style effect thing, but with similar colours. Again, similar text, similar little buttons here, and similar texty effect. Now, because it's going to go on my main channel, I also want to show you the new Empyraeum website. I love that I can do all this live. Oops. Thank you. Now, obviously, I've redesigned the Empyraeum.com website as well. I've actually done excitement. I won't subscribe. I don't think I will. Oh, come on, go away. It's not going to let me, is it? It's not going to let me go away from here. There we go. Okay, I might need to change that. Again, I've gone for the sort of post-box style with essential bits in the middle. Now, the Empyraeum.com website, this is the one I really want to show you around. Because I've completed this one. As you can see, I've changed the logo as well. I've gone for the whole burning hot sort of look, but I've gone for the whole thing of the cycle here, sort of going somewhere between flames, crisping up and curving ashes and stuff, and also just the same general look. Now, as you may see with the background on the sides here, and you'll see this more in detail later, I've gone for sort of the computer style look. I've made it look like this is what we call a Pan-Sabian device, which actually gives us information and data in the Empyraeum side of things. Now, as you can see here, I've obviously gone for the Empyraeum Encyclopedia here. This is the first time anyone has ever seen this font in use. This is actually the alphabet which is used throughout the Empyrean at this moment in time. It's based on an archaic Greek carvings. I'll actually have to thank the Archaeological Society for making this font free and available. But this is actually taken from real life archaeological findings and carvings. This alphabet was used in back the archaic Greek time, and I wanted to include some authenticity in there. Like I said, thankfully it's a free font to use because they're lovely people. And now, what I like here especially, you'll see on here, a lot of the menus I've replaced them with the standard text menus, and I've gone for the buttons. I've taken clip art and things like that, and also my own artwork here. Now you can actually see here, let's go to races. I've still got to change this just yet, but we're working on things here. Ones we've done the most work on so far, we've got our friends the dwarves. We've got their new logo, which I very nicely designed. We've got the names of the dwarves in here. And what I'm just going to add here at a later date is a button for the actual individual dwarves, as I have done here with the goblins. Now here, as we see there, we have Charlie Two Shoes looking very psychopathic, or psychotic should I say, up at the top. We've got talk about them, and then we've got a nice little thing down at the bottom which shows us all of the different goblin friends that we have. We've got Poetomi Sheon, Dogtail Johnny, Leggy, and Razzle. We haven't, as you may have noticed, got Nutbag Charlie Two Shoes yet. We're going to add him on later. What we'll do here, though, we'll go back to Encyclopedia just so I can show you some more things. We want to show you technology, which is one I've done a lot of work on. We will go to the link. For some reason, I think it does that. Now, technology, obviously, we have got a lot of things. We've done all of the different text and skills here. We've put everything in frames. And again, give me the feedback. I'm trying with this to go for a fusion of a modern, ancient, completely different type thing. You know, obviously, these frames here, I actually used these already for the sharp-eyed among you in the maps that I've actually released. And I wanted to keep a consistency. Those maps are produced on what I suppose what we call computer tablets. I haven't come up with a name for them yet. But it would give us an idea of just basic things. You know, they have these computer tablets that they can actually, oops, I dropped my, excuse me, unscheduled moment, dropped my e-cig on the floor, sorry about that. Anyway, that's what we have for live TV, isn't it? But anyway, so you have these computer tablets that use these data terminals, which will, obviously, having been made as part of the Empyrean, have a theme to them, as in a theme for the Empyrean itself. So, as you know, or as those who've read some of the stories and stuff will know, the Empyrean theme itself is royal and gold, based on the Macedonian colours, based on Philip and Alexander's Macedonian flags, which was the Virginia sun in gold on a royal red background. Red being considered the royal colour because red dyes were the most expensive to produce, especially dark purpley reds like this one. So that theme is consistent in different styles. The text is in a lighter, antique gold looking thing. The edges here are a sort of circuitry style stamped gold. And the text itself is in a very pale greeny gold. Again, we have our buttons here. And what I'd like to do here is jump into technology. Now, why it does that, I'm not entirely sure why it just does that. I'll have to figure that one out. So, again, as you may notice here, this is actually the same font I was showing you earlier on, but it's giving basic commands, computer commands that you would see, let's say, on a Unix, on a Linux or a DOS screen. But this is actually showing all kinds of interesting stuff. I forget the exact terminology I used. I'll have to check it for you because I'm not as good as my memory is not as great as it used to be. But you see here, we have different things here. Let's go here to Fusion Cell. We'll come back. It gives the option to look first, I suppose. Now, one thing that I've been thinking about a lot recently, I'm looking at this website and everything, is that I'm a very analytical, wanting to have the answer, and excuse me if I vape, wanting to have the answer, wanting to, let's just say, I'll use this as an example. Back when I was at university, I did an economics course, and part of, no, it was, I'm sorry, it was an engineering course, or an engineering module. What we had to do was create a product that was completely unique. So we had to research and find something that hadn't been made before. We came up with the idea and we had to do presentations on it and regular status meetings with the lecturer. And what I always did when we did I tended to be the mouthy one who always liked to talk. Don't ask me why or where that came from. This will surprise many people who know me, know I'm such a quiet and unassuming character. Anyway, so no, it's complete lies. I am quite a talkative chap. Anyway, I would always, when we do this presentation, have everything ready, but I would have 3 or 4 slides to one side. We're talking about the old projectors, the old box that used to put acid, the transparency printed upon, the transparent plastic printed upon sort of thing. I'd have 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 or 7 that I would keep to one side. I would give the basic, bare to the bone, stripped down presentation, but you'd always have the question and answer session at the end. And what I would actually have, these slides would answer the questions I was pretty sure were going to come up. So what I would do is someone would say, oh, what about this? How much would this be? Or how would you produce this? And I would triumphantly produce, put up the slide and explain it to them. Reason being is the lecturer says you have X amount of time for your actual presentation. I will mark you down if you go above that. But I could justify it by saying, X, Y, and Z asked me a question, sir. And I had to answer their question. So I do this, I'm always like that. I'm quite a detail-driven, analytical, wanting to get everything right kind of person. So I was doing the same thing with the Empyraeum cycle, especially. Someone asked me a question, well, how does this work? What is it? What's that thing you have plugged into all of your weaponry? The fusion cell. I can actually give you a detailed description of how a fusion cell works as far as most regular people understand it. I couldn't give you a full detailed scientific engineering style thing because I only did a couple of basic modules on engineering 20 odd years ago at university. I can't actually tell you now. But you get the idea. It's so I can go into the basics here. And that's what I try and do. Oh, please go away. So we'll go back to the encyclopedia again. We'll go back to technology. And then we'll go down here at the bottom. I'm going to have to fix that. So let's have a look at vehicles. A lovely, nice Calshadar cruiser right there. Just out of interest, people may actually notice here, I did actually use the basic setup of an ancient Greek bireme, and then I decided to play with it. So obviously here, again, details to me are everything. We have got an Empyrean pilot here. You may notice that's very similar to Calshadar armor. The commander character who we see has armor remarkably similar to that. And our regular army troopers and the command and what's his face? Laertes Kamkalion, the chief, has something similar to that. We see these data cuffs on several people. We see that pistol on a lot of people. We see that display on a lot of people. All of this is connected. We've even got, I forgot what the name of it, I think it's Snoigri, or one of the cyber characters has a mask that looks quite similar to this one, but this is military spec, not civilian spec. So it's going to be a little bit more advanced. You see, I've thought of everything. Now up at the top here, we've got our buttons of the various vehicles that appear in the series. And like I said, I am always trying to maintain consistency, especially things like armor and weaponry. So what we'll actually do here, we'll actually go back to the encyclopedia and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we'll go to technology, we'll follow the link. After appreciating our lovely little screeny here, we'll go down here, we'll go to weapons, and this isn't just weapons, this is weapons and armor. Now I'll change this later, don't worry. Be not concerned. Now here I have an Empyraeum inside of an Empyraeum ship. Now, good old Laurie, my mate, he said this reminds him very much of an old game I used to play called Space Hulk. And he used to play it too, made by Games Workshop, Warhammer 40,000. I suppose I didn't do that on purpose, but I suppose it's gone for that vibe in a sort of Greeky style way. Let's see, here we've got the Macedonian shield of the Virginia Sun, the lamps are dragons, we've got Alexander on horseback in Bucephalus in the back, we've got loads of screens of data, we've got dragon heads, we've got a sort of Greeky Nazi style surround on everything, we've got a nice deck here, we've got a mural on the screen, more dragons up there, everything consistently themish. And of course we've got an Empyraeum here, which are the human elites, the human marines of the Empyrean era. Now what I wanted to show you here is the consistency in armour. Because obviously we've got the reflex, we've got the impact, we've got the sotiothorax. Let's go here into the reflex armour, just to give you a look here. Reflex armour, as we've said, is the armour, the advanced armour that the Kalshadar wear. Now here we actually see it without the terrouges and the skirt, or the kilt, in place because it's a basic armour. We see the backpack, which is not seen in any Kalshadar picture yet, but it's a backpack which contains a micro fusion reactor. It contains fusion cells in here. It has slots just under that smoke there, which you can plug power cells and fusion cells into to recharge them. It is, now the thing is, I was trying to come up with a way to make Kalshadar armour invulnerable. And my good mate Gary Crook, or is that my good mate, I chat to him on Twitter occasionally, very clever bloke. He actually asked me, and I was trying to come up with I developing the concept, but I didn't have a word for it. And it was actually Gary who mentioned it. Thixotropic, typo, fix it in a minute. A thixotropic metal or solid is any element or solid, especially a metal, whose rigidity, hardness, or state will change at the introduction of an electric or an electromagnetic current. I was trying to think, we've got reflex fields. These are reflex emitters here. They actually develop, they're called reflex fields because they react like a reflex to force applied. So let's say you push, you do that, I'll the old thing they used to show in cartoons, especially hitting someone on the knee with a hammer, called testing their reflex. Reflex shield works the same way. You apply force to a reflex field, it will react back with an equal force, basically obeying Newton's laws. But how do we give this complete coverage? We didn't want to have like a ball around the Kalshadar, because from a practical perspective, if they have a ball around them, then if they want to touch something, how are they going to do that? If this spherical egg-shaped field is around them, have to refine it, have to make it so that they can react with things that are not shielded or not within the shielded space. So I came up with the idea of the thixotropic material. Not why I hadn't come up with the idea, came up with the idea of using it. Now, this work, Alan, you may ask? The reflex field is obviously, in order to respond to electromagnetic events, it has to be an electromagnetic field in itself. Therefore, mithril, the trouble dwarves had with getting it to work to its fullest potential is the fact that it's like mercury or some other popular metals. Like palladium is too brittle in its natural state. Mithril is too liquid in its natural state. It's like mercury. So, how about if I was going to point at the screen, look at these conduits here on the armour. They're everywhere. All the way through, conduits and channels, all the way through the armour. Now, obviously, some of these are endpoints of articulation. How about these conduits, these points of articulation, have, from a reservoir here in the backpack, probably these little reservoirs here, can just about make my little tanks, has liquid mithril flowing around these channels. Now, the good thing about the electromagnetic field of the reflex field is that can infuse the liquid. As you know, a lot of electromagnetic fields are strengthened and flow better through liquid. The way it works is to use the thixotropic properties of Kalshadar armor or of the mithril, is that when the reflex field reacts to significant changes, it will change. Its charge will change. Its electromagnetic properties will change, therefore stiffening, increasing the rigidity or the hardness of the mithril at the site that is occurring on a micro electromagnetic level. So let's just say, to give you an example, I'll stand up here. So you've got obviously this is a knife here. Oh, knife. You're going to stab here. The reflex field will repel, and the armor at the elbow joint will stiffen. The mithril will stiffen, creating a diamond hard seal that knife can't get in through. So, you think about it, the reflex field is millimeters, micrometers above the actual joint. That reacts, and say in microseconds that takes for that to react, the charge changes, the mithril stiffens. It makes Kalshadar armor close to invulnerable. There is a vulnerability that, let me just say, because it is electromagnetic in its operation, the reflex field can potentially be neutralized. But that's what I'm talking about, the details. Details giving away, I don't want to give away storylines. But there's a consistency in everything I'm doing, especially with the Empyraeum cycle. I'm working on baking that consistency into the Chronicles of Enoch. It's actually there to some degree. But that consistency, that ability to explain everything, that's what I'm looking at doing. So let's go back here. I need to put some back buttons on here, don't I? Then we've got impact armor. And I won't go into the detail, I'll show you here. No, actually I will. I'll show you the full impact armor here, because why the monkey's uncle not? Impact armor, I'm very proud of this. Now if you look at that, it's got the Greek metal crest. Well, it's got the Greek crest, but they decided to do it in, I suppose, two-dimensional metal. This is based very much on a Chaldean helmet with the rebreather tubes and the grill added on the front, and obviously the eye lenses in the gaps. I've gone for this angular sort of look because I wanted to separate this from the Kalshadar armor, make it something more modern, more creative, more human. Because the Kalshadar are obviously ancient Greek soldiers who are still alive today. Now, the liquid mithril, the thixotropic layer, this still has that, but this doesn't have a reflex field. So its effects are not as, this isn't impenetrable. This is pretty darn effective. But it's not, these are humans. We can make more humans. Making Kalshadar is expensive and difficult. Make too many of them, kill the dragon. That's not good, is it? No. So, I just wanted to draw your eye to a few details here. Now obviously as you can see he's got similar joints, he's got similar setup. He's still got the mithril that grows through here, and he's still got power systems in this armor. This armor is somewhat powered, though not as highly powered as a Kalshadar armor. You obviously see he's got his nice little shotgun here, and what I like, it's always a detail, is the over-the-shoulder knife. Why? Because this is someone in tight quarters. He wants to come out and just go straight with his knife. The knife there is a an emergency measure. He puts it over his shoulder, he or she, so he can draw it and attack you with it quickly. Didn't think of that, did you? No, Alan, I didn't. I like your thinking here. And like I say, the iconography, everything I've got in here ties together. Because if you look here, we've got all the different icons, all the different symbolism on here. I want all the different armors and everything to connect together. That's the plan. Whether I can actually make that happen is a more challenging thing. So, one last thing I'll show you here is the character section. If it'll let me. That's what happens when you do things live, isn't it? For some reason, let's go. It's frozen up. I'm not sure whether I'm having a. Oh. Let's go to characters. Hello. Well, let's just go back. It might just be because it doesn't want to work. You work from here? Yes, you'll work from here. Okay, whatever reason. Now, again, I've gone with characters. I haven't put the little banner up there. I'm working on that. We have got the Kalshadar, we have got the Dracograth, we've got Alexander, and we've got some humans. Now, let's look at this here. Let's look at the Kalshadar. I just want to show you their armour to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. Look at this armour. We've got the shoulder pads here with their ridges for the mithril to flow down, engraved with runes. We've obviously got the teruges and the kilt. We've got the dragon knee pads. We've got the nicely carved things here. The gloves, the greaves, everything here. The helmet, which looks very much like a Corinthian helmet. We have got a nice curved copis sword here with a dragon head. We've got a nice Dipleon shield with the Virginia Sun and the Imperial device in the centre, connecting back to history. Let's bring up our Dracograth friends. We've got a Dracograth here, same shoulder pads, same breastplate. His gloves are different. His van braces are a little different to give the dragon look. Same knee pads, same thing, same boots, same teruges and kilt, same gun, same knife, same symbology, everything here. We've got Alexander. Again, there's some changes here, but he's got his different shoulder pads, but he's got his same Virginia Sun and symbol, his same dragons, his same shoulder pads. Recognize this from earlier on? From, what do we call it, the impact armor? Yes, indeed. Made in the same factory, obviously. Also, look, Alexander with his two different colour eyes. We have to remember those, it was mentioned. And you might think, our friend Sham here, our Indian friend here, look here, symbol, symbol, symbol. These symbols appear elsewhere on other characters. The colours as well appear on other characters. Look, his necklace is royal in gold. His backstrap is royal in colour, his sleeves are gold. The blue, the dark red, it appears on other characters. Like I say, it's a unifying thing I'm trying to keep in my work here. Let's just go to characters in general. Let's go to the Dracograth. I just wanted to show this page, just to give you a whole idea of how I'm doing this great computer style look. And gosh, that takes a while to load, I apologise. But you see here, everything is being unified, everything is being tightened up, everything is being made just to look unique and individual. And to stay away from here, keep this on, I think that's important in any book or book series. Obviously, if you're writing a one-off, you're writing a memoir, you're not creating a brand, you're not creating a universe, you're not creating something that you're going to want to revisit or want other people to revisit. But because I am doing this with the Empyraeum cycle, I wanted to make something that you can come back to. You know, this is my, it might seem a little bit weird, but I have this dream, like a very famous preacher had in America. Though I think my dream is a little more limited than his, and maybe a little less important. I actually dream that other writers, other creators, other inventive people and authors are going to want to write in my universe. Because one thing I've realized, and one thing one of my eldest actually mentioned, he actually said that there's probably more here than you can write. Because you know, I share my writing and my creations with my family, and I have some small fandom, at least in my house. But he'd actually said there's more to this than you could probably write in your entire lifetime, and I said yes, good, because I would like other people to write in my IP, as if people like to call it these days. I would like the Empyrean cycle to be like the Star Wars extended universe, the DC extended universe, the Marvel extended universe, the what's the one, Star Trek extended universe. I would like people to actually say, Mr. Fisher, sir. I was saying, please, not the formality. Call me Alan. I'm everybody's friend. All right, Alan. No. It feels weird, but I'll allow it. Oh, Avengers reference, isn't it? No. Anyway, I will like to have people approach me and say, do you mind if I write a story about this planet, these characters, this culture? Well, I'd like to write a Gorkai series. I would like to write something about the origins of them. I would like to write about this series I hear you were thinking of adding in but are unsure about, that may or may not resemble space elves. I'd like to write about dwarves. I'd like to write about the dwarves' long exodus. I'd like to write some comedy about goblins. All these things, and I would like to say, yes, please, but please, I would like to read it before you publish it. And I'd just like to give my final say, so if that's okay with you. Because this is my baby, this is my creation, I would like to at least say yay or nay. But I would love to have other people write within my idea, and within the universe that I've dreamed up. I would love that. I would love, hey Graham, Laurie, Mr. Abnett, you, if you want to write within my IP, please come ahead. We'll have a chat. I would love it. I somehow doubt that's going to happen anytime soon. But if you're interested, please come ahead right away. I would love you to. There are others out there. Neil, I somehow doubt you're going to write within my, or do some comics within my IP, because it's nowhere near famous or wonderful or incredible enough yet. But the door is always open, Neil. Call you Neil because you're my friend. That's right. We've been friends forever. You don't know that we're friends, but we're friends. Didn't sound creepy at all, did it? Anyway, this is not a villain origin story. This isn't Neil going to reject me and saying your universe is utter crap. I wouldn't write in it unless one of my children was threatened with death if I didn't, or if it was the last IP on Earth and I just had to write something. Not going to happen, I don't think. But you never know. James Swallow, I know you're a little bit less discriminating than Graham and Laurie are. Maybe we'll have a word. Mr. Finch, maybe. No. All right. Anywho, this was just to give you an idea into my crazy mind for me to try out some new things. And for me to play around a little with some programs that I've spent money on, and just to show off some really cool stuff I've done recently. For example, let's just show one more thing before I go. Because this is the one that's coming up soon to be wonderful. The timeline. For some reason it's reformatted these things, but I did a big long, as you can see here, timeline. Going back from 25 before Empyraeum, which is the year when history as we know it happened. 21, so roughly in about 25 before Empyraeum is when Alexander died. Here it doesn't. Here he doesn't, sorry. And we have a continuation going all the way up in here to year 44, 447 of the Imperial Age, when Alexander vanishes. I am actually working on at this moment in time, and I would like to show you some of what I'm working on here. Have I got it here? Oh yeah, I'm just trying to work on it. I've got it here somewhere. Let me just come in here and see if it'll let me show you. Yes, you're actually seeing my secret file path here. I just like that I can show things here. And I want to go to Documents. Do we? No, we don't. Oh look, Aaron Dembski Bowden. Aaron Dembski Bowden, if you would like to write in my IP, you can. I have all of your books, Mr. Dembski Bowden. Mr. Dembski Bowden. Oh God, he's not going to do it now, is he? After completely blown that with that terrible, terrible pronunciation of his name. Because apparently no one can pronounce his name properly. He finds it amusing until he doesn't. Anyway, we'll go to writing, picture of my wife. We'll go to Empyraeum. I think it's in here somewhere. No, it isn't. Anyway, I'll show it to you later, because I actually have. I should have prepared for this, but I decided on the spur of the moment that I was going to do this. Is it in here? Oh look, I play Titan Quest. Anyone else play Titan Quest? Lovely game. Part of my inspiration, in fact, for the Imperial cycle, playing Titan Quest. Because I love the armor and stuff. And the idea, you know, it inspired me for some of my designs for the more modern looks. Now, where is it? I know I had it in here somewhere. And I hate to keep you waiting, but like I said, I'm a very obsessive person. So, I'm going to have a look. Video. Is it in the video? I haven't recorded it yet, but it's coming. So, history. So here's all my stuff. This is showing you all the Fisher secrets here. I've got everything here. I get rid of nothing. It's not in documents, because I looked at it. Anyway, I will be at some point doing a big history video. All the different slides of the different and pictures of my design of all the different great historical events that occurred during the Empyraeum. And I'm going to present that as a nice big fancy video. But not yet. Not yet, my friends, not this day. But it's coming. And I wanted to tease that with you and say, hey look, I'm going to do something amazing. But you're not going to see it yet. Because no. But it's coming, and it is going to influence many, many things. Including the upcoming novel. Did I put this in? I haven't, and I've got to make a few more changes, and I've got to change that because it's ugly. But I want to show you one more thing that I've done here as well, just to show off all of my designs. This is my own personal me with the photo in this room. No, it's in the other room. Webpage. Now, one thing I particularly like about what I do here is my smoky. That took ages, and it was actually an accident. But don't tell anyone that this was played for and got. Played and won. I did this on purpose. Got to change that. Let's have let me show you the Empyraeum cycle here, because I just updated this yesterday. Similar design, but you see, there's my computer command text, my computer command look. There's old Alex right there. There's the text, there's my mentions, there's my collections. I'll also show you the Chronicles of Enoch, because I changed that on here. And this is where I came up with my idea for the look of what it's got now. See, I'm going to try and get these in here because I love these little guys. Little devil angels sat on the corner of the button, just, yeah, why not? I think it's funny. I just like the idea that, because we've got Asmodeus and people like that, little devil angel. So we'll have representation of the little devil angels here. And I made the whole thing here, as you may have seen, look like a tablet with my Enochian runes carved into it. Again, this video is terribly scripted. Oh look, anyone use Zombo Dream? Zombo Dream. I decided to use that as have a completely unique background. And if you're interested in what the picture looks like, have I got it here? I think I do. I'll show it to you. It's in my downloads. Isn't it? Oh, Alan giving away all his secrets here, isn't he? Did I save it? No, no. Anyway, I'll show you. Part of it is right there. Because I came up with this idea of a great castle made to look at a dragon's head, and Zumbo thought, I'll make it very Blade Runner-esque and weird. But I kind of like it. And as you can see here, there's the curves of that same building. Anyway, come back to that another time. I'm going to do more videos over the coming days and weeks. I think I'm going to do some tomorrow and make it a little bit more structured. I'm just going to fiddle around with this one now. And thank you for joining me, Alan J. Fisher, the rather eccentric, crazy, rambling author that I am. I swear to God, my writing is a lot tighter and better organised because I discipline it. Now look, read that, isn't it beautiful, the way I've written that? What if I were to tell you that all the stories, all the myths and legends were true? Now, what would you say if I told you I had just told you the truth, but also lied? The idea behind the Chronicles of Enoch is simple. All stories come from somewhere. Over the centuries of first oral retelling and then being copied and written down, changes are likely to have taken place. Soon there are several superficially identical stories but with different characters and endings. It is, perhaps, human nature to want to stamp your own unique signature on the story you tell, to make it more interesting for your audience, to achieve fame. It also means that the original story is lost to the mists of creative license and ego. So, what if the very darkest myths of human civilization are indeed based upon real events, but instead of being exaggerated and pumped up in the retelling, they were in fact watered down? Events were forgotten or suppressed, stories lost and fragments combined together, new stories created. What if someone knew all the stories and was working very hard to, without being detected, avoid what is known to be inevitable, to rewrite the ending? What if he could truly make the word apocalypse true to its original meaning? The Chronicles of Enoch tells the events that lead up to the eponymous end of all things, and of the attempts by various individuals and groups to either fulfill the ancient prophecies or derail them. It is about that has been going on for millennia. It is being fought today, but so rarely seen. A war in the shadows, fought in the shadows. Now, the Empyrean cycle and the Chronicles of Enoch both do this. They're about subverting, changing history. Tomorrow, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my weird, quirky manner of writing things. But not this day, my friends. The next one. Thank you for watching. I'm going to edit this up and pop it on YouTube for you to enjoy. Again, join me. www.alanjfisher.co.uk, www.empyraeum.com, www.chroniclesofenoch.com.